About 5:30 a.m. Okay, so give hers...
Now, for the most important part, the testimony of Miss Long. She claims to have seen a woman speaking to a man near 29 Hanbury Street sometime around... What time, Watson? Let us assume, therefore, that Miss Long's testimony is, as is most certainly the case, true. She places her meeting with the victim at around 5:30, claiming to have heard a clock chime on the half hour at the moment when she enters the street.
Okay, so what time did he leave his mom's place? It was right here. Oh, shit. God damn it, I'm so upset right now. Okay, I just had it. Okay, right here. If it was the day I'm all covered in blood, tain't know how I could have missed that, even if it was the night time. Right, 5 minutes after going to the number 29, I had to clip off. Like else yesterday was telling me Nora was fixing me boost so stiff that was still steaming. Okay, so I gotta remember that. So his was like 5 minutes to... So... Rise at his mother's... Just wants that new to be chapter writes the next stories of the paper. Yes, indeed, stories have been published in the Strand. What did you tell me, Mum? Befouled. Tell me, I bet befouled about the times I told them, but you can't see and he knows. He said 4:30 as well. Yeah, so I gotta do his shoe.
Now, let's put the Richardsons' arrival and departure times on the timeline.
It was like 4:30. Or Watson says it's, or Dr. There? No. What? I can't take it. What the fuck? Quit. Whatever. When the fuck? Okay, so he leaves
now,
about
let's
like...
put the Richardsons' arrival and departure times on the timeline.
Yeah. Because it was like 5 minutes.
Despite the great respect I have for Dr. Phillips and the value I place on our friendship, my deepest conviction is that both of you are mistaken and that Richardson is in the right and that these two testimonies put down in writing have real worth.
But how? Explain yourself, Holmes.
Remember how you assessed the time of death? You touched the fingers and body of the victim, but it was remarkably cold for this time of year. In addition, the corpse had been drained of bodily fluids. Its heat retention was therefore no longer the same as that of an intact corpse.
Egad! You're right, Holmes.
Oh, I've had some time to research, Watson.
Given these facts, my first diagnosis may have been off by half an hour, perhaps even an hour.
Thus, we can confirm Richardson's statement and establish that the murder was committed after 4:50 a.m. and not before 4:30 a.m.
So... leaves. Miss entered the yard at 5:20. Okay, so... 5:20.
Our next witness is Albert Kadosh.
5:20. Because... yeah. And then... he's in his guard a few minutes. 5:30. So what about the church? Because the church says 5:32.
Let's place this symbol that represents Kadosh on the timeline.
2. Here's I fall against his fence a few minutes after going back up.
Let's place this symbol that represents Kadosh on the timeline.
I like the music. No. Okay, so a few minutes. So how many's a fuse to them? Like 4? I I guess this one isn't right. So, what are you again? Leaves his place to go to work. Okay, press B to... Good. Get him back in here. So I can figure them out. Okay. So, according to the testimony, on the morning of the murder, the witness entered the yard at 5:20. He heard voices calling from the backyard of number 29. The only word he could make clear out was no. He re-entered the house and went back about after 4 minutes later. Okay. He left for work at 5:32. Okay, so... No. Sorry. There we go.
Let's place this symbol.
Got it. 5:32.
Kadosh leaves the garden, enters his house, then leaves for work, seeing the clock on the Spitalfields church showing 5:32.
Yes. You see how Sherlock Holmes looks all pissed off in the corner and Watson's looking all down, and then Constable Humphreys is in the corner. Which is weird that it's Constable Humphreys. It should probably be Inspector Abeline or something. But anyway, he's in the garden a few minutes, then he goes back and hears the voices. So, like, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28. 28? No. Let's try that. Hey, let's look like they're about to meet hands. No! Please tell me he's saved. Thank you. Okay. This garden is in his garden for a few minutes. Then he hears... This was at 5:20? I think. Yep.
Albert Kadosh goes down into his garden at approximately 5:20, and on re-entering his home, hears voices in number 29's garden.
So, fence it goes back up. So, yep,
Kadosh
right there.
goes back down into his garden approximately 4 minutes after having left it, and hears the sound of an impact against the wooden fence.
All done. That's how we do it.
Excellent, Watson. All our people are now in place.
Yes, but Holmes, Miss Long, claims to have seen the victim at around 5:30. But according to Kadosh, someone, most certainly the victim and her murderer, was already in the garden at 5:30.
Excellent observation, Watson. It must be noted, however, that these two witnesses, Long and Kadosh, saw the time shown on the clocks in the area, which are often inaccurate and went by their empirical and, in this case, erroneous estimate of how much time had passed. Thus, neither of these two times can be considered reliable.
Do you mean to say that these two testimonies might match?
Indeed. Let's put Miss Long's meeting with the victim at 2 minutes before 5:30.
Who's?
Let's add Miss Long's meeting with the victim at 2 minutes before 5:30 a.m. Mr. Kadosh claims to have passed by the Spitalfields church at 5:32, which, given the distance from 27 Hanbury Street, would mean he was still at home at 5:31. Let's therefore put the end of his testimony at 5:31. Miss Long heard the man say to the victim, "Will you?" To which the victim responded, "Yes," which would suggest that an agreement was reached and that the transaction was imminent. They then proceeded to enter the garden, which puts the voices heard by Kadosh at 5:29.
Gee, Sherlock, why don't you just do the whole puzzle for me? I mean, Christ. I mean, now he's just like, this is why I didn't like school.
We had thought that Kadosh had left 27
There's a
Hanbury
knife in
Street
the
at
corner.
5:31 after having heard an impact against the fence. Thus, 2 minutes passed between the moment when Kadosh entered the house after having been in the garden the first time and the moment when he returns to go out again and leave for work. How long did he estimate this interval to be? 3 to 4 minutes. In light of all this, Watson, we can finally establish the time of Chapman's murder. Now, place the knife at the exact time.
Can I get a document? I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy talking. Uh, 4:30. No. Sherlock, you screwed me all up, man. I don't even know.
Now then, taking into account that the local clock isn't exact and that a young man was off by a minute or two in his estimation